Hello, patrons. Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I'm here to reveal the guidance cards. I used just a little bit of housekeeping. I used my Energy Oracle cards to begin with. They are by Sandra Ann Taylor. Again, I thought it's nice just to step away a little bit from the tarot every now and then, and I'll also deepen with a new deck that came today. It's called the 78 Tarot Mythical. It's actually by 78 artists, actually. Each card has been individually done by an artist and brought together under the one banner of 78 Tarot Mythical. Absolutely beautiful design. So we'll see a little bit more of that later, but that's the Moon card. The Three of Swords, just absolutely beautiful. I think one of my viewers said, "Oh, it's really good to see people using the Rider-Waite and not just, unboxing new tarot sets every day." Well, yeah, I mean, you can go to that extreme where you would, but the point of getting new cards is all about connecting with new artists. And I've often said that the artwork in the tarot is something that activates and stimulates your own creativity and your own intuition, and takes you into that subconscious realm, that doorway, and again through the third eye. So. It is good to look at, to have new decks. So I'm not one that says you should just read with Rider-Waite and be done with it. No, I think you should explore the tarot and particularly the artists that are creating the artwork there for you to use your intuition through. The Strength card, gorgeous, is depicting a dragon. Traditional tarot depicts a lion. The Wheel of Fortune has an Asian influence to it, almost like, again, this idea of luck. The Chinese have a particular idea of luck, and it's around also being in the flow of things. The Nine of Swords. It's what's keeping you up at night. It's actually coming from your own mind. These things aren't real. It is your own anxieties and worries that are keeping you up. And then we move to the Three of Wands. This is almost has a fairy tale kind of feel about this card. And what will this girl do? She's certainly gathering berries, and will she expand, or will she stay where she is? So there's different aspects here. The Four of Wands, the celebration card. It's like we're on holidays in Florida. So, beautiful. And then we go to a more traditional approach with this beautiful Queen of Pentacles. This woman or girl looking up at what is the moon, the illumination of the moon, and there's abundance around her as well, and innocence. It's the Queen of Pentacles traditionally talks about stability, bringing forward this wonderful, almost motherly stability, earthly security. And there again, we've got the Emperor card, which is, almost a bit like Greek mythology, a bit like Thor there. So yeah, really, really nice depictions. I particularly like the Sun card, which depicts a phoenix rising from the ashes. So I'll use those, even though I'm not totally familiar with them. They do include a couple of other cards, which are the Guardian and I can't remember the other one, but there's just a couple of additional cards that they've put in there, and also a meditation card as well. So, if we do draw that card is representing the need to really focus on ourselves a bit more. But back to our guidance cards, I just wanted to do a bit of a deck reveal there. Gorgeous, 78 Tarot Mythical by 78 different artists across the world, from across the world. Okay, we've got card 1, Yin and Yang, the number 22 in the Energy Oracle cards. This talks, I'll bring the laptop down and we'll go from there. Okay, this card, number 1, Yin Yang, talks about the energy, the energy of passivity here. So it's almost, the counsel here is, depending on what your question is, the counsel could be to surrender and go with the flow. So if you've been holding out for something, so rather the time now is not for pressing forward in action. The time is for standing in stillness and allowing insight into your question to present itself in its own time. So this is. Again, this yin energy, which is almost can be associated with the feminine, although I don't like those labels. You know, yang energy is male, yin is female. But I guess what is there is that it's not a time for pressing forward. It's a time for standing in stillness, standing in your own observation, not taking any action, but actually waiting for the information to come to you, or waiting for the right time. So it may not be the right time for you to press ahead. It might be that it's more prudent to wait at this time. Number 2 is attachment, and this talks about what is holding us back is what we are attached to. Attachment it can often be seen as a Buddhist principle that which we are attached to can hold us back, and if we shed our attachments, if we get beyond our attachments, then we can travel freely. So depending on what your question is, again, a letting go is called for, and also not just a letting go, but to examine why you are attached to a certain thing. It could be old relationships which are no longer serving you. It could be old patterns which you need to get beyond. It could be old habits which are no longer serving you well. But there is something holding you back. And the way to get beyond this is to really see it for what it is, and then move beyond it. Let it go. It's time. If you drew this card, it's time to let go of what's holding you back. Okay, because it is again the number 5, and as we know, 5s are all about change. So it is time to move forward. So whatever is holding you back, let go of it. Community, if you chose number 3, this is a number 7, and this is talking about the human need here to surround ourselves with support, with community, with friendships. This is a little bit like the 3 of Cups in the tarot. So depending on your question, it is a counsel to perhaps consult with others about a way forward for yourself. And if it is a general theme around what do I need to do to get my life to move forward, or to have some kind of forward progress in my life, then you're encouraged to get out of the home and really mix, collaborate, network, join a community of interest, or it could be just ringing up friends and spending time with like-minded people. Okay, so number 4, hostilities. This is not an easy card. This is talking about negative energy perhaps being directed towards you or about you, or you might be arguing with certain people. It's calling for I guess a resolution here. So if you've asked this question, if you've picked this card and asked a question around what does this mean, it could be that there's just too much how would I describe it? It's like choppy waters to really navigate fairly smoothly, and really you're not going to have that forward progress until this. This is speaking of something that still needs to be sorted out. So you need to talk something through with someone before you move forward, because not everybody's on the same page as you. So number 5, blossoming abundance. This is actually one of the more positive cards in the deck insofar as it is a portend of something coming to you. So it's either money or it's job offers, or it's being in the flow of life again, and then when you're in that flow, then you're starting to attract the positive to you. So this card brings forward a message that to expect and look out for some good fortune because it's coming your way. And number 6, financial constraints. Life's like a roller coaster, isn't it? Just when we have our good things, we'll have periods of good things coming, and then we'll have periods of a downturn. And this card here is asking you to consider your budget, financial constraints. So, unfortunately, it is a time when money may not be plentiful, but if you manage your way through this downturn in your finances, there is also the counsel with this card that things will get better in time. So draw your belt in, budget, because things will eventually turn up. So this is not a long-term card or view here. This is just saying for the moment, while you're on a downturn in your finances, budget, because things will eventually turn up, and you'll start to move forward financially. So it's just good practical counsel that this card brings through. So now let's drill down a little bit on the cards. If you chose number 1, yin yang, the counsel here is not to move forward with action if you can, to gather the extra information, and then when you've got that, then you can move forward. So it's also, the number 22 is also talking about partnerships and collaborations as well. So depending on what your question is, the time might be not to form a partnership or collaborate at this time. It might be just time for you to wait this one out and just observe and gather your information before you start to make that decision or take that action. So can we have some clarity, please, on number 22? The yin yang, the yin energy, the yin energy. Can we have some clarity, please, on this card? Okay. So we've got the Eight of Swords, which actually does fit with the general oracle of this particular card. This is talking about a restriction, but it's also a self-imposed restriction. I'll just pull 3 cards for each. It's talking about a restriction before you move forward with this Fool card here. And the 3rd card is the Hierophant. So I don't know what your question is relating to, but the Hierophant can be dealings with government, dealings with courts, some kind of system or institution. So depending on what your question is at this point in time, before you take that action, stop, gather your information before you move forward again. This is also a very spiritual card. The Hierophant is number 5 as well, and it's talking about change, and it's also talking about connecting with spirit too. So, if you're in the flow of life, you will start to notice the signs around when it's time to move forward again. So let's look at number 2, attachment. Okay. Can we have some clarity on this attachment? Number 5, attachment. So letting go of old patterns and things that are holding you back. It's time to, once and for all, to let go of these and to free your space, free the environment, free your own personal environments so that you can allow more things in and allow new things in. So again, number 5, a card that's talking about change. So it's almost like these things are anchors that are holding you back. Could we have some clarity, please, on number 5? 3 cards, some clarity, please, on number 5, attachment. Okay, let's see what this is going to tell us. All right, so we have the King of Swords. So this is talking about really taking the time to think about what is holding you back and to make those objective decisions. When you do that, it's also confirmation of the power of your own thinking processes and your own strategies. This card is calling on you to be confident in the actions that you're going to take. The Page of Cups. Okay, there could be some surprises here for you when you really start to drill down on what has been holding you back. You might actually have an insight here around something that perhaps looked quite seductive on the outside, but perhaps isn't in your best interest. So we've got a cup, an emotional energy, right alongside the air energy, which is thoughts and actions arising from those thoughts. So I feel that when you do stop and think, there is going to be illumination there for you, because we've got the Sun card. As I said, these old things, old patterns that may be holding you back are not allowing for new things to come forward. So this card, or these cards, are talking about taking the time to find out what you're attached to that is no longer serving your best interest. Once you do that, it's a time for, as I said, the phoenix, rising again from the ashes. And this phoenix will bring forward abundance. When you're no longer chained again to the past, you can achieve this greater happiness. All right, community. If you chose number 3, talking about networking, collaborations, it's a card that's saying that it's time to actually look for those networks and collaborations. So can we have some clarity, please, on number 7, on community? Some clarity on number 7, community. Clarity on number 7, community. Okay, so I have the Page of Pentacles. This is talking about reward for effort and also some kind of money news. I do feel that this is an earthly energy here, and this is more of an emotional energy. So I feel that when you are rejoining, if you've been out of social action for any reason, and you rejoin the community, I feel that there's going to be some kind of reward, self-reward there for you. You're going to be feeling more grounded. Often we can isolate ourselves, and we tend to have to overanalyze, and there is this human need to integrate, to collaborate, to network with like-minded people. So I feel that if you do that, you will be rewarded for that effort. And we have the Queen of Wands. Absolutely, this is talking about inspiration and passion, and also projects. So it may be time to look for community interest, something that you are volunteering position, or just a collaboration, a community collaboration. This can also be in business as well. It's time to join with others, and when you do that, you're actually going to be have that greater inspiration. I mean, we can inspire ourselves, but when we join with others, we actually can tap into that team or that group inspiration, and we can refine our motivation. The Five of Swords is talking about, just as an added clarity here or added insight, it may be that in the past when you've done this, when you've collaborated and networked, it hasn't gone all that well. The danger or the risk, of course, when you do collaborate closely, is that others can, in a way, ego comes first, and you find you're at the beck and call of other people's agendas. But the counsel here is, and I've brought this forward in the part of, I think, Mercury retrograde, was realizing the patterns that hold us back. And part of that is in our reactions to when we see this sort of thing, or in human beings, we tend to recoil from it and think that just by stepping away we're going to manage that situation. Rather, this card is saying it's time to rejoin, it's time to collaborate, it's time to network with others. And if you do happen to be derailed a little bit by others, then you really need to draw on your own powers of, or I guess your own self-power, empowerment, and stand back a little and just observe, not get drawn into any drama. So let's have a look at this number 26. If you've chosen number 4, hostilities, what's going on here? Are you disagreeing? Who are you disagreeing with? Are things absolutely smooth sailing, or is there an issue here that is troubling you and troubling someone else in your immediate environment? So can we have some counsel here? Number 8, this could be in business as well. Number 8 is the entrepreneurial number. It's generally, or can be seen, it's quite a lucky number. It's the card of business. So you could be disagreeing if you're in business. There could be some disagreements there, or if you have joint affairs with someone, one of you might want to do one thing, someone else might want to do another. Or if you're in the workplace, who's conflicting in the team, and how would you solve that? So some clarity on number 26, hostilities. Let's have a look at what Spirit is going to bring forward here. 3 cards. Okay, so this is a money card in this. I feel that this is in relation to a business here. And this is also all about the attachment as well, being attached to outcomes. And that attachment is holding you back. So for some, this is actually quite disruptive energy around you, but it's also talking about letting go of that attachment. Yeah, there's definitely something going on here with the Tower. However, what this is talking about is, I re-look at these cards here that, I thought, initially, or have done for many years, that, you only see the negative aspects of these cards, but there are positive aspects to this. And this is what we're learning with Mercury retrograde. We're learning that these things happen so that we can become stronger, so that we can manage, and so that we can learn. So whatever's going on, in this, for those that have chosen this card, it's really an opportunity for you to get beyond this and to rediscover your own strengths. And part of that with this 9 of Wands energy here is really the need for boundaries. So for some, if you're conflicting with somebody close to you, just because they're a family member, or just because they're a friend, or just because they're a close workmate, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have boundaries. It's talking about putting those boundaries up and really going after what you want, despite what others are saying. If you know that what you are saying and your viewpoint and what you want is absolutely correct, then you have every right to go after that. Certainly you have every right to your point of view. And if somebody is stepping over the bounds here, this is a counsel to really just re-engage with those boundaries. So number 5, blossoming abundance. What a wonderful card. Number 3 is all about creativity. So whatever's coming to you, you've manifested. You've created at some point. To manifest, we have to draw on our own creativity and our own creation ability, and whatever's coming to you, you have drawn this to you in the past. So you've absolutely been in the flow here. And again, this is what is achieved when you let go of these old past patterns that don't serve you any longer. When you observe conflict and ego in others, not taking it personally, but stepping back and observing, and also when you re-engage with the boundaries that you actually need, because it is about self-empowerment, self-care. And even though we have these close relationships, you still have to have that personal self-care within those relationships. So, blossoming abundance. What do we need to know about blossoming abundance? Blossoming abundance. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Absolutely, Spirit is merging in some way, merging the clarity between these two decks, and I always hold this in gratitude when Spirit does bring forward these messages. This is talking about new income sources, new jobs. That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And there is a divine aspect to this. Again, when we're in that manifestation, when we're able to manifest, we're actually in the spiritual flow of life. We're actually doing exactly what we should be doing, when we should be doing it, where we should be doing it, and well done, because this is bringing forward new abundance, new sources of abundance for you. And this could have been after a period of retreat, when it could be, you might have been feeling a little bit put upon. You might have been carrying some extra responsibilities. You may have had some health problems. Whatever's happened for you, it was a necessary retreat before things started to flow again. And of course, I talk a lot about learning. Learning to progress, learning so that we can progress. The Nine of Cups, things, yes, starting to move forward again. The Nine of Cups is all about wishes and miracles coming true and abundance. So what a lovely card, number 5. What a lovely card. You've earned it. Whatever's coming to you, you've earned it. Now we go from, as I said, the roller coaster of life, where we have a period of abundance followed by, a period of perhaps a little bit of scarcity, and then, it's almost like this yin and yang energy here in the number 1 card. It's a counsel when we should just sort of, draw back a little bit. Re-engage with ourself, re-engage with our intuition. Don't if it's financial, then adhere to a budget. But also the counsel is that these times do pass. Okay, so can we have some clarity, please, on number 13, financial constraints? Clarity, please, on number 13. Okay. Financial constraints, yeah. There's been some sort of loss in the past with the 5 of Cups. So it can also be, even though it's financial constraints, there can be an emotional element to this card as well. But it's also your reaction to it. So I'm feeling guided to say, watch your reactions to what others do. So that you're not being drawn into that kind of negative energy. The 6 of Cups, this is something going back to the past here, and the 6 of Cups is, it's almost like a loss of innocence. It's a very emotional card, the 6 of Cups, and I feel this artist has represented it very, very well. It's like when we engage with the past, there are things that we would have done differently. So again, what's the point of regret? What's the point of feeling guilty as well? it's time to step into the here and now is what this card is saying. There is victory coming with this Six of Wands. There absolutely is. So as there's going to be a downturn and you'll budget, there's going to be eventually an upturn for you, and you will be victorious because you've ridden out this period. So beautiful cards there. I'm just going to put these back, and then I'm just going to draw 3 messages from Spirit for everybody. Some people choose more than one card, and others choose one card, but I think when we draw 3 cards from Spirit, then everybody can get a message out of it as well. Okay, so the Energy Oracle cards, they're not too bad actually. As I said, I don't often use Oracle cards, but I think the decks that I've got are quite versatile. Okay, so 3 messages from Spirit. This is what I was talking about, being in the flow here with this is almost an equivalent to the Green Man, which was one of the cards that we drew last week. And it's talking about being in the flow of life with the 9 of Pentacles. That's when we start to manifest. That's when, we are feeling that we can stand wholly and solely on our own 2 feet. Okay, so let's have a look. But you've got to work to get into that seamless flow of life where we manifest. You've actually got to put some work into it. And one of the keys is to let go of old patterns which no longer serve you. It's very hard to recognize old patterns because it's just taking that step toward self-responsibility and stepping out of that feeling like a victim to taking back your own power and standing within your power. So let's have a look at messages, 3 messages from Spirit. 3 messages from Spirit, 3 cards please. Messages for our viewers today from Spirit for the next week. 3 messages from Spirit. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Cups here. This is a lovely card around, it's almost like a seductive energy, and it's around making offers to somebody. It's traditionally a romance card, so, for some there could be romance on your mind, but if not, this is around making this wonderful offer to yourself. And it's talking about, in this card, this person is stretching. This is a very feminine energy here as well, and it's all about having more trust, having more security in the world. And one of the ways we do that is to really, it could be just taking some time out and having some self-care. If you wanted to have a massage or a facial or your nails done, or simply just taking yourself aside to a nice corner of the house and spending some time reading that book that's been on the shelf for a long time. This is the kind of energy that's coming up there, I feel. The King of Wands. Okay, so for some, this is talking about stepping into power. This is a very a card that teaches us how powerful we actually really are. And when I say powerful, I'm talking about standing in the light, because that is really what power is. It's around connecting with Spirit, connecting with your higher self. So I feel that the message here is to draw upon the wisdom and the strength of your higher self, and which will then bring forward this empowerment. And for this card, the Lover's card, absolutely, I'm taking another look at this card here, because we've got the Wise Owl here. And so this is talking about relationships. I feel the energy here this week, or at the moment when I'm doing these guidance cards, is all about just being grateful being grateful for those around you, being grateful for your loved ones, being grateful for the work you have, being grateful for the resources you have, being grateful for your health, but also patting yourself on the back as well. So whatever's been happening with you, there is an energy here that it's time to stay in the here and now, to feel that gratitude for the things that you have, but also to spend some time with yourself and bring forward that kind of pampering energy, that kind of relaxation energy. Taking some time out for yourself is really important here. And then listening then for the inspiration that is yours within you. So what's on the bottom of the pack is it's talking about money. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune and we've got the Page of Pentacles. So this is earth energy coming forward here. It's whether this is relating to money or whether it's relating to your place in the world, understanding that there will be those good times, there will be those bad times, but just if things aren't going your way at the moment, watch for an upturn, because with this Wheel of Fortune, it's always just around the corner. So I'm going to leave it there, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I did something a little bit different this week using the Energy Oracle cards and also my new 78 Tarot deck, which I must say, even though I'm not totally familiar with it, is absolutely gorgeous. I think you would agree. So I'll leave it there and I'll be back again soon with another reading. All the best.